Hi, I'm Mike Papantonio, and this is America's Lawyer. The adult website Pornhub was recently hit with a fine of less than $2 million after it was revealed that they were profiting off human trafficking. And this is the fine. It's an insult to everybody that's been a victim to the trafficking industry. A school district in Florida, well, they're under fire after they banned dictionaries in order to comply with the book bans that Ron DeSantis has signed into law. And the economy, well, it's getting worse for young Americans, and that could be a serious impact on this year's presidential election. All that and more, it's coming up. Don't go anywhere. America's Lawyer starts right now. The Department of Justice recently announced a settlement with the parent company of adult website Pornhub after the company was found to be profiting off of human trafficking. This settlement is an insult. It's a slap on the face of everybody that's been a victim. I've got Ring of Fire's Farron Cousins with me to talk about it. Farron, you know, when I saw this, I was appalled that the Department of Justice, again, drops the ball. Opioids, nobody goes to prison. 32 pharmaceutical cases where there was clear fraud, clear tampering with clinicals, nobody goes to prison. PFAS case, nobody goes to prison. And the documents were overwhelming of the intent and the conduct. But this Department of Justice is so frigging useless. And this is another example, isn't it?
And it's getting worse. I mean, you know, a lot of these things that you're talking about, like, span several different administrations, and now here we are. We've got this group, ALO, used to be called MindGeek. They changed their name as if that solves problems. But so they say, okay, you've been profiting off human trafficking. It's pretty obvious you knew what was happening. You just decided to look the other way, make hundreds of millions of dollars. So give us $1.8 million and we'll call it good. We're not going to prosecute you or send you to jail. I mean, I don't know that I've seen a fine this small for such egregious behavior. This is insane.
It's like this prosecutor completely was terrified. I promise you, this prosecutor was terrified to take these people to trial. I'd take them to trial tomorrow. As a matter of fact, I'm taking the deposition of these folks at the end of this.
You will be taking them to trial
I am
soon.
taking them to trial, but I can't get them to criminal trial.
Right.
And they need to be criminally prosecuted. Listen, let me give you how bad this is. My client that I'm representing that represents the entire class, okay? It's a mass tort case. These cases are taking place all over the country constantly. My client, 15 years old, she was trafficked by some cat out of Mobile, Alabama, big trunk dog, something such as that is what he called himself. Created 58 videos, 58, where she was being sodomized, raped, every iteration that you can possibly think of sexual attack took place on this little 15-year-old girl, okay? These videos were sent to Pornhub. They were sent to MindGeek. The titles on them were overwhelming. I mean, a typical title for something like this that we see that now they say, oh, we've stopped doing it. How about Tiny teen is sodomized in a hotel room? Petite teen is gang banged. Or how about virgin teen is crying as she's raped? Those are the headlines that this company says, oh yeah, we're going to put that out there. They know it's all about, make it outrageous and we're going to attract more money. But in there, these kids they don't do this voluntarily. Hell, they got videos where some of them are unconscious. They don't do anything to find out. Once they find out that's clearly a teen, they don't call the police. They don't take any action to interrupt that process. And this Department of Justice says, yeah, we're going to find you $1.8 million. Hell, it's a $600 million a year industry, just this company. It's just so damn infuriating, Farron.
I did the math on this. When you look at their 2022 profits, this comes out to about 34 to 36 hours of just net profit for that company. So you lose a day's pay basically.
Right.
And you still get
Wow,
over
good point.
$400 million in your pocket at the end of all of this. And one of the things they do here too is they hide behind Section 230.
Yes,
Section
yes.
230, which says you're not liable for what gets posted on your platform. So these companies, they go to the DOJ, to these idiot lawyers they have working there, and they say, hey, listen, you're going to have a hard time coming after us because we didn't produce the video. We're just the host.
Right.
And we will argue all day that Section 230 protects us. So if you don't want to be embarrassed, maybe we can work out a better
This
deal.
case is so winnable.
Yeah.
If you just had some prosecutors with the Department of Justice that had some guts and did their job. This guy did not. He gave him a deferred prosecution deal. That is, we're going to let you go. We're going to make you pay $1.8 million. If you mess up again, we might do something. This guy ain't going to do anything. Look, here's what these companies do. They can't possibly review the material. There's so much material coming in, millions of videos coming in a year. I mean, the numbers are staggering.
Yeah.
So what they do, rather than spending the money to actually have a good review process, they cut the numbers of reviewers down. Now what happens? It gives them deniability, doesn't it? They say, well, we had people doing it, they just didn't catch it. You had a fraction of what you needed that you can, there's no question. They can see the faces. They understand that, they understand what a 14-year-old looks like. And they understand really that the big gain for them is that those are the videos that make the most money. And so they keep them out there. And once they're out there, even after they take them down, if there's a video shot of this child, a 15-year-old, being raped, sodomized, it's out there. Now they say we took it down. No, hell no, you don't take it down. It's somewhere in the web. It's never going to go away. So I don't know. We're going to try to do what the Department of Justice fails to do. We do it every time. We did it on opioids. They failed. Nobody prosecuted on opioids. PFAS, killing thousands of people all over the globe. No prosecution there. We took the case. We did as much as we could we don't have the right to criminally prosecute. All we can do is take their money away from them. And I could go on dozens and dozens of cases where we have documents that are overwhelming that the pharmaceutical industry is gaming the clinicals, hiding material, destroying documents, overwhelming. Give it to the prosecutors with the Department of Justice.
Seems like a lot of work. We don't want to do
Yeah,
it.
we don't want to do the work. We just want to do the low-hanging fruit, whatever the hell that is. I don't know what they do anymore. New audio tapes have emerged that show that the NRA agreed to hide certain luxury expenses for their outgoing president. And these new tapes could be the final nail in the coffin for that group. Interesting story. Again, it's, this is ProPublica that did this story. Of course, they've never liked this guy, but lay the story out for us, would you?
Yeah, this story goes all the way back to 2009, where they uncovered this audio of a meeting where the organization was trying to figure out, hey, we got this guy, Wayne LaPierre, he's been running the group for decades. He likes to spend money. He likes to go on these lavish vacations. He likes his private jets. He likes these luxury resorts. But we're a nonprofit, and there are rules that say we can't do this. So they came up on this audio call with the brilliant idea. They've got this PR group. What was it? Ackerman McQueen.
Yeah.
They said, okay, so the PR group, that's an outside company, they're going to get these American Express cards, the Platinum American Express, and they're going to be the holders of those accounts. We then use the cards, and this again is everything in a nutshell. We use these Amex cards, and they started passing out what they called the Ackerman Amex. They were handing them out to executives like crazy at the NRA.
This is a special account.
Right, and so what happens is Ackerman pays the bill that has the itemized expenses, private jets, luxury resorts, fancy meals, and then the NRA just pays PR expenses on the Amex.
But let me tell you something. We've seen this in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
I mean, big pharmaceuticals, Wall Street. It's just a scam. They're all doing it. They're all doing it. And he got caught.
He did. You know, this is a good Icarus story.
Yeah.
Right. You know, his greed went on for so long that it just increased and it increased and it increased along with the hubris. And eventually you come crashing down because you're gonna slip up every now and then. You're gonna screw things over. And look, they're facing a pretty big trial that actually started just a few days ago in New York.
Yeah, if you had another prosecutor, I'd feel better about it.
But LaPierre, even NRA members have been sick of this guy forever. He's doing nothing but just running an organization to put money in his own pockets. He's not actually doing anything to help the members of the NRA.
Right.
I mean, the members of the NRA, if you look at the polls, they're normal people. They're not.
Well, they pay
people.
a lot of money into. I mean, you know, we're talking about tons of money coming in here.
Yeah.
And so this idea of, well, let's have this special account that our donors don't really know about. That if we do an audit, it's really not going to show up as a ridiculous expense, like, you know, Ritz-Carltons and jets and, you know, $1 million parties, that kind of stuff. It's not going to show up.
Yeah.
So let's not worry about it.
And the big thing too is it's not just that he was pulling the wool over the eyes of the donors. It's that because this is a nonprofit organization, you're legally not allowed to do this.
That. Right.
So.
Right. Exactly. See this with hospitals a lot, by the way. Nonprofit hospitals. A school district in Northwest Florida has drawn the national media spotlight after it revealed that they were banning dictionaries and encyclopedias in order to comply with Governor DeSantis' book bans. Unfortunately, this is it's happening in our county.
It's our backyard.
Yeah. And I'm looking at this thing, and first thing I was looking, did they ban Grapes of Wrath because there's some sexual content, or did they, To Kill a Mockingbird? You go through all these and you can nitpick and find just about anything. Go ahead and pick the story up.
Yeah, this is, again, it's so horrible because it is literally in our backyard right here. Yeah. But we've got the Escambia County School District that has banned 2,800 books as part of, DeSantis signed HB 1069, which says any book that has any kind of sexual content, mentions of sex, can't do it.
It's not
absolutely
gonna stand.
can't have it.
You agree it's not going to stand?
Oh, right.
I mean, matter of fact, the judge. I mean, I don't know what they're going to rule, but we had some of our attorneys there listening to the argument, and it's just so damn unconstitutional. It's vague. You can't even figure out what it is that you're trying to accomplish here, right?
Right, and that is, of course, one of the biggest issues with this. It's, you've written it in a way that gives you the ability to ban anything, which is why this district has pulled several versions of dictionaries off the shelves because they have a definition of the word sex. They're pulling encyclopedias off the shelves. Guinness Book of World Records comes off the shelves in this county right now because, it may have, mentions of any kind of sexual activity, or perhaps this person is of a different sexuality. And they're being, I don't know that it's really the fault of the school district.
It's not.
Because they have the liability
Yeah.
if a parent complains.
It's not the school district.
So they overreact and
Yeah.
just say everything's gone, no books.
Okay, you know what I thought about as I was reading this story, is I've thought about the number of times you and I have stood here and we've talked about censorship in general.
Yeah.
So this has got two sides to it. Okay, here you got a bunch of right-wingers, we don't want the word sex. But you also have the other side of it, where speakers show up at a college campus and they're going to say something that some segment of the campus disagrees with, so they censor the speaker. They say, you can't show up. Or the comedian standing up on the stage and he's just doing a show. But they say, oh, we don't like what he's saying, so we're going to boycott him. We're going to make his life miserable. It's the same kind of censorship. I mean, it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just the other side of it. But I don't see our websites. Somebody puts up on a website something. We do it all the time. Hell, on this show, I insult plenty of people. And rather than analyzing what I'm saying, the easiest thing to do is attack, censor it, try. But that'll never happen with us because we're in a unique situation.
Right.
We don't need advertisers. We don't need subscribe. We're independent. But what about the folks that feel that kind of censorship pressure? This is kind of the other side of that, I think.
Well, I will, just to address the point, like if students want to call for a boycott because they disagree with the speaker, I'm okay with that. Like, call for the boycott if you want to do that. It's when there is some kind of rule that comes down saying, okay, we can't have people that will say this or say that, that's when it goes into full-blown censorship. So that obviously is a problem. With what's happening in this district right now, again, they've cast such a broad net so that they don't get in trouble. Even conservative books. There's books by Bill O'Reilly that have now been pulled off the shelves.
Frank's Diary of a Young Girl.
Right. It's laughable. And these are books that we all read growing. I mean, the school told us you have to read this book.
Guinness Book of World Records, censored. Biographies of Lady Gaga, censored. Thurgood Marshall, I mean, you know, one of the best jurists in history, censored. But you see, it's both sides. It's not just one. You can't look at this story and not say, this is the danger of censorship. Because even though they may not have a policy at a university, when a speaker goes and they don't like what the speaker says, well, you know, you don't have to have a policy to say it's censorship. It's de facto censorship because they make that speaker go home or they don't allow him to speak. So that's the danger. I mean, to me, it's such a slippery slope. First of all, this is unconstitutional. There's no way this is going to stand. Right. I have zero doubt that this is going to be held unconstitutional. So it's not really a problem. I think to me, the real problem is when we have a culture that is so unable to listen to something that they disagree with, where they have to move into a safe space, you know? They have to move in a safe space because they can't, I don't want to hear that. That's dangerous as hell to me. That is dangerous as hell.
To me, it's, you know, listen, if you don't want to hear something, you don't want to watch something, you don't watch it, you don't hear it. If you don't want to read these books, don't read the books.
Exactly.
I don't understand why people don't understand that they can just not do it.
How do you explain, first of all, I don't know whether you agree with me or not. You know, you and I agree or disagree on a lot of stuff. Do you see at least the point I'm trying to make here? That it's a two-edged sword. It holds true for both sides. And I mean, these right-wingers are just as loony as the snowflakes that show up and say, I don't want this comedian to show up because he's insulted whatever. I don't like what he has to say, so I'm going to make their life miserable. You see, it's the same kind of censorship, only it's a de facto censorship.
Well, I mean, look, only one side's trying to make it illegal. And that's coming from the right.
Yeah.
So we see DeSantis has done this. Other states have picked up on this. Sarah Huckabee Sanders in Arkansas is working on it as well. And so, yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of people on the left, especially with the comedian issue. They're like, listen, we get that you have your own sense of comedy. We don't like it, and we don't want you here.
Then don't go.
But at the same time, I bring up this thing from George Carlin. Comedy's never supposed to punch down.
Yeah.
You got to be attacking the ones in power. Don't attack the marginalized people. Well, so that's, I like that old statement from George Carlin, and I think it holds true. It's easy to mock a small community because, everybody is not a part of it. Yeah. But when you take on the powers that be, that's when you make a difference.
Do you think Chappelle ought to be able to go on stage and part of his routine is to talk about trans or gays? That he's able to do that? Should we say, you may not do that?
He's able to do that, absolutely.
And people go.
And people go.
And some people choose not to go.
Right.
And that works. Yes. That's not censorship.
Right.
Okay? After a door plug blew off during a flight recently, questions have been asked how this could have happened. All you have to do is follow the money, and it becomes crystal clear, doesn't it, Farron, about what Boeing's up to. They're just paying off regulators. They're paying off prostitutes.
You didn't get it wrong.
Well, prostitutes. I was thinking congressional prostitutes. So they're paying these people off. I mean, huge money. I mean, mega 40 million, 60 million kind of money.
Yeah, Boeing. And just for anybody who's not aware of it, even though it's been national news, you had that door in the middle of a flight. You're 35,000 feet in the air. Door plug blows, door comes flying off airplane. And this is the latest in a string of mishaps, we'll call them, that Boeing airplanes have suffered in recent years. We've had two very fatal crashes. We had the woman that almost got sucked out of the plane, and now the door plug. And so a lot of people are wanting answers. And, well, if you want the answers, go to the lever, because the lever put it all together as per usual.
As usual. I mean, these guys are great.
And they followed all of this dirty money that bought them deregulation.
I mean, it's just amazing the capability. I don't think in corporate media there's such a thing as investigative journalism anymore.
No.
So, but you have people that are doing it. You've got the lever. You've got some folks just like that. I mean, we've got about 5 sources that we go to. and this is one of them, and they just always get it right. Look, Spirit. What happens? There's a Spirit Corporation which supplies, I think it's 70% of the parts for Boeing. In other words, they basically build the airplane.
Yeah, and it's a spinoff of Boeing, so
Yeah,
they are tied right
exactly.
at the hip there.
So you have employees that are saying, they know what they're doing. We're complaining all the time about defects. We're complaining all the time about shoddy workmanship, and they're telling us to shut up. Don't say anything. Conceal it. This is coming from their own employees. I mean, Lever was smart enough to get a few of them under statement. This is what they're saying. How about 2018 and 2019? What is it? 346 people killed. 346 people killed by the very kind of thing. It was something wrong with the airplane, some defect with the airplane, somebody didn't do their job in making the part. Whoever it was that distributed the part, covered it up, concealed it. It's the same thing, man.
Yeah.
Every time.
And when these things happen, what Boeing does is they get their lobbyists, they get their checkbooks out, they go to Washington, D.C., and they say, hey, listen, we've got the FAA or whoever it is sniffing our tail right here. Mm-hmm. We need them to not be. Hey, you've got this rule right here that says we're not allowed to do this or we have to go through X number of safety checks. Cut that down. Cut it down to one safety check, or maybe we just fill it out ourselves and send it in to you. That's all we have to do. You don't even have to send your people. Oh, by the way, I totally forgot. Here's your $5 million.
Right.
And these lawmakers, Democrats and Republicans, both of them, they make the phone calls to these federal agencies and they say, get off their backs.
Ron Estes from Kansas, Republican, pressures the Federal Aviation Administration. Say, look, you need to move this faster. You need to deregulate some so Spirit, who supplies the parts, can continue making defective parts. That's just one Republican. There's Democrat Maria Cantwell.
Yeah.
Well, she holds herself out as this really, I'm really a consumer-oriented individual, till you go looking behind the curtains, and then you find out that she's creating legislation that says that the 737 looming safety problems, that we need to move on and we need to give them a break. Really move on? This is it killed 270 people. And
it's almost crazy when you think about the fact that, okay, Boeing is a company.
346 people.
Yeah. So Boeing is a private company that makes products. And they're working on legislation to say this specific product from this private company, we got to get this on the market immediately. Why? That doesn't make any sense. That's like a toy company lobbying Washington, hey, we got to get this, new Elmo doll out there. You've got to pass legislation. When you look at it in those simplistic terms, this is insane because lawmakers are lobbying for a plane to make it to the market faster.
Right.
We have planes. We got good, safe, decent planes right now, and Boeing is cutting corners, paying off everybody.
So much money. They're making so much money, and Spirit's making so much money, and they're putting people's lives at risk as we become a friggin' banana republic. You want to hear real crazy? I don't know if you caught this story. I just caught it yesterday, maybe the day before, where Buttigieg, of course, the transportation guy who brought us, multiple derailments, brought us inability for the airlines to even get people from point A to point B, a record, more cancellations, more failure of the airlines to deliver what they're supposed to deliver than we've ever seen in history, okay? The same guy that couldn't even keep trucks moving and ships moving in the cargo areas. And we had a supply problem. This is the guy who now, I'm not making this up. He really has proposed that for diversity and inclusion, we need to start hiring people that have mental disabilities. Did you see this article?
I haven't seen that.
It's there, yeah. It's just coming out by the FAA. Sometimes it's easy to confuse the future farmers with the aviation department. But the point being, Mayor Pete is behind this diversity push. Now, if they're not working in the control area, great. I'm all for it. But there's no delineation. I used to be a pilot. I flew for a lot of years. But this is not the kind of job where you can put somebody up in a tower or work in radar that has a history of mental illness. And this, for some reason, he specified that in this diversity request.
Well, I think this isn't even something that Buttigieg needs to be talking about. You're the head of the agency. This sounds like an HR issue. Like HR should be hyping that up. They should be promoting it. You should be worried about the fact that we're back to the point where airplanes are crashing. They're blowing up in the middle of the air. That's what Buttigieg or anyone at the top of that agency needs to be focused on, and they're not. And that's what drives me crazy about this. I'm all for inclusion, but again, let the HR people deal with that. Let the lower people on the ladder there, they get to do that, and great for them. You have to go out there and you have to put pressure on Boeing. That's what you should be talking about. You should be talking about all of these companies still price gouging us, alleging that, oh no, the supply chain.
Right.
Supply chain's fine right now. We're being gouged by corporations. You should be on a better message than talking about things that most people are going to roll their eyes about anyway.
This last story, I mean, I looked at 4 different sources to see if this was true, but it really is psychiatric disabilities and intellectual disabilities. We want to reach out and bring them into the FAA. And we're great. There's probably places where they can work. Don't put them in a tower. Don't put them in a control radar center. So maybe it's a good idea. But the way it's written and the way that it's going, it specifies this is what we're looking for. I don't know, man. This guy gets creepier and creepier. I mean, every story that I do, it's just another crazy story about this Buttigieg cat.
Well, to me, it's just, he has been, I think, out of everyone I've seen from this administration, the worst.
Yeah.
If you look at what's happened from the transportation department since he's been in charge, it's been a disaster. There is no way to spin that. It's not because he's a gay man. It's not because he's a man. It's because he sucks at his job and he should not have that job. He was grossly underqualified. He was a mayor of a town of under 200,000 people. He should not be in charge of transportation for the U.S.
Mayor Pete for president. I literally see that. Mayor Pete for president.
It's sick.
The Biden administration keeps telling us that the economy is humming along just fine, but for young Americans, things are really getting worse. Huge percentages of young voters are being forced to move back in with their parents because they can't afford rent or mortgages, even though they're working 2 jobs to make ends meet. That's the state of affairs moving into the 2024 election. How does it affect things?
It's horrible for Biden. And here's the thing. Look, I'm on social media all the time, and that's, you got a much younger crowd, especially over on Twitter. But a lot of them talk about how sick and tired they are of hearing this administration tell them that the economy is doing great. Because when you look on paper, you look at the numbers, yeah, the economy is doing great. We've got record low unemployment, stock market going through the roof, inflation's coming down, prices still way up, and a lot of that is price gouging. But get down on the micro level, not the macro level, get down to the macro or micro level, and that is where you start to see how bad the divide is in this country. Because if you're somebody who's over 40...
You're talking about age divide.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're over 40,
bad.
You're feeling the recovery. You're doing pretty good. You're under 40, it's hell for these people right now.
Here are the numbers, Farron. Almost 30% of Gen Zers reported they can't afford rent, and they had to move back into with their family. It's 1 out of 3 adults between 18 and 34 today are living with their parents. And that's not that they just don't want to work. Some of them are working 2 jobs.
Yeah.
And, part of it is we've talked about before is you've got Wall Street coming in, buying up houses, buying up entire neighborhoods so they can jack the rents up. But I don't see this getting any better. And I don't know how you can, in one side of your mouth saying, this is really good, we got a great economy. You have more movement right now with minorities and younger voters moving away from Democrats. They're moving away. You've got, I think every week you've got some, high-profile minority leader coming out and saying, we've all invested in the Democratic Party. What's it done for us? And so this is another one of those stories, isn't it? And I think it has to be addressed. I mean, you can't move into the election, and put your head in the sand and say everything's okay. Bernie Sanders, I think, really handled it well, didn't he?
Yeah, Bernie came out recently and essentially, he said Biden has to change course. It was that simple. He said he has to change the course. And of course, Bernie's big thing is always these economic inequality issues. And this is where Biden has plenty of leeway to do something. He could go out there, hold a press conference in 10 minutes from now, and say, look, we got a problem in the country where we've got Wall Street bankers moving into small town America, buying up all your homes, and then charging you double what the rent should be, triple what the rent should be. I want to make that illegal.
And they could make it illegal.
Yeah,
There's
you know-
all kinds of ways to stop that, but he won't do it. The other part of it is with minorities, what you're hearing is you're bringing in tons and tons of immigration. And what that's doing is it's driving down wages for us. They're taking jobs that we used to be able to handle for $15 an hour, and now these folks are replacing for $5 an hour. So that's the minority argument, and it's affecting the way they see economics. That's a big factor.
Yeah.
The millennials, well, they're losing ground to things like AI and technology. So I think it's something you can't just you just can't say everything's okay and say we can hold this position. We don't have to address it. But you got to be out there talking about it, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. They want to talk about, hey, look at unemployment. It's so down. Yeah. How about we talk about the number of people that are working 2 jobs?
Yeah.
Let's look at those
46%.
statistics. Because
46%.
Yeah,
of I think it was Z's.
yeah, so more people have jobs, but more people have more jobs too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things. Overall, are things better? Sure.
What are the
but
jobs they have?
They're waiting tables still, and a lot of their service industry, their retail industry, and even those are already being automated. We're seeing more self-checkouts. We're seeing, they can't get these office jobs that they went to school for because we do have older generations that don't have money to retire. So I got to work until I'm 70 or 80. I can't retire from this job and create an opening for the college graduate. And it's a horrible workforce.
You know what the statistics show now? Used to be where we wanted, if you're interviewing 2 people, one of them is 55, the other one is 25. You would lead right around here. We would also say, okay, we want that 25-year-old that's got some ability and can be trained and can do a good job for us. It's not just us, but I mean, the statistics show that people are favoring the older workers now. And so that's another hit that the Zs and millennials are having to deal with. I don't see a quick solution to it.
No, I don't either. Like I said, I mean, there's things he could do. At the very least, talk about these things. Let's stop pretending that the economy is working great for everybody. But if he doesn't start getting out there and using that podium, using the pulpit, then he's going to be in for a really
It's working great
sad
for
year.
millionaires and billionaires.
Yeah.
It's working great for millionaires and billionaires. But most Generation Z and millennials are not billionaires and millionaires.
And they'll never get close to it, unfortunately.
Thank you for joining me, okay?
Thank you.
That's all for this week. But all these segments are going to be posted right here on this channel in the coming weeks. So make sure you subscribe. I'm Mike Papantonio, and this has been America's Lawyer, where we tell you stories every week that corporate media won't tell you because their advertisers won't let them. If they tell the story and it hurts the advertisers are going to pull the money. Or their political connections are just so strong that there's no middle ground. If they're Democrat, they can't talk about Democrats. If they're Republicans, they can't talk about Republicans. We, as you can see, don't have that problem here. We're going to call balls and strikes regardless. Hope to see you next time.